I'm Rose, 35, the heart and soul behind Brewed Awakening, a cozy artisanal coffee shop chain that's become a Seattle staple. 10 years ago, I married Ethan, a marketing manager at Horizon Media, thinking we'd build a life together. But as I stand behind the counter of my flagship shop, the aroma of freshly ground espresso swirling around me, my world shifts with a single text. My phone buzzes between pouring lattes for a rush of morning customers. Ethan's name lights up the screen and my stomach tightens. His message is a gut punch. I'm done, Rose. Moving to LA with Lily, my 22-year-old girlfriend. Joint account's empty. The cruelty of that stings like a slap, but I don't flinch. Mrs. Carter, a regular, is chatting about her daughter's wedding, and I nod, my smile steady as I hand her a macchiato. Only the slight clench of my jaw betrays the storm inside me. Ethan's betrayal doesn't surprise me, not entirely. For months, I'd noticed the cracks in our marriage, subtle but growing like fractures in a ceramic mug. He'd come home late, claiming client dinners at Horizon Media, but his paychecks never reflected the overtime. His phone, once an open book, suddenly required a password he wouldn't share. Then there was the receipt I found crumpled in his jacket pocket 3 months ago, a romantic dinner for two at the Pink Door, a swanky waterfront spot, on a night he swore he was buried in spreadsheets. I'd held that receipt under the dim light of our kitchen, my heart pounding, knowing it wasn't for me. That's when I started piecing it together. Ethan, at 42, was chasing a version of himself he'd lost, or maybe never had. Lily, his girlfriend, is a junior graphic designer at his company. I met her at Horizon's holiday party last December, her laughter too loud at Ethan's stale jokes, her hand lingering on his arm when she thought I wasn't looking. She's young enough to be his daughter, her eyes bright with the kind of naive ambition I used to have. I could have confronted him then, but I didn't. Instead, I kept my composure, just like now, as I wrap a scone in our signature parchment for Mrs. Carter. My shop, my sanctuary, hums with the clink of mugs and the hiss of the espresso machine, grounding me. Ethan thinks he's gutted me, picturing me crumbling over his taunting text. He's wrong. I've always been a planner, the one who double-checks the coffee bean shipments and balances Brewed Awakening's books to the penny. When Ethan's late nights became routine, I didn't cry, I acted. I opened a separate bank account at a different bank, quietly transferring my personal savings. The joint account he emptied? It held just enough to keep him from suspecting, 2 months of regular deposits, nothing more. My shop's profits, the lifeblood of Brewed Awakening, are safely tucked away, untouchable. So is the house I inherited from my grandmother. A cozy craftsman in Capitol Hill. I refused to put in Ethan's name, despite his nagging. Simplify things, he'd said, his voice smooth. I'd smiled and nodded, but my instincts screamed to protect what was mine. As I lock up the shop, the Seattle rain tapping the windows, I reread Ethan's text. His arrogance, that smug, fuels a fire in me. He thinks he's won, that he's left me broken. But I'm not the one who's underestimated. I dial my lawyer, Emma, my voice calm. He sent the text, I say. It's time. Ethan's about to learn that betrayal has consequences, and I'm ready to serve them. The Seattle rain drums a relentless rhythm on the windows of Brewed Awakening, my coffee shop's warm glow a stark contrast to the gray chill outside. It's late, the last customer gone, and I'm alone with the hum of the espresso machine cooling down, the scent of roasted beans lingering like a quiet ally. Ethan's text, his cruel LOL and smug announcement of emptying our joint account, burns in my mind, but it doesn't break me. Months ago, I saw this storm coming, and I built my defenses, brick by careful brick. As I wipe down the counter, the polished wood smooth under my fingers, I feel a flicker of pride amidst the betrayal. Ethan thought he could shatter me, but I've been preparing for this moment, my heart a fortress, my mind a steel trap. 3 months back, the signs were impossible to ignore. Ethan's excuses for late nights at Horizon Media grew flimsier, his stories unraveling like cheap thread. Client meetings, he'd mutter, avoiding my eyes, his tie loosened, a faint whiff of cologne not meant for me clinging to his shirt. Then came the receipt from the pink door, tucked in his jacket pocket, for a candlelit dinner on a night he claimed to be buried in work. My hands trembled as I smoothed out the crumpled paper, the $200 total a silent scream of his deceit. That same week, his phone became a vault, new password, screen angled away from me during our quiet dinners in our Capitol Hill Craftsman. I didn't confront him. Instead, I sat at my grandmother's old oak desk, the one I'd inherited along with the house, and began to plan. My heart ached, but my resolve hardened, a quiet fire kindling in my chest. I opened a secret account at Puget Sound Bank, a small branch far from the one we used together. Under the guise of organizing Brewed Awakening's finances, I transferred my personal savings, every cent I'd saved from late nights perfecting pour-overs and early mornings sourcing fair trade beans. The joint account, the one Ethan gleefully drained today, was a decoy, holding just enough 2 months of regular deposits to keep him from suspecting. I'd learned early in our marriage to keep my business separate. Ethan called it paranoia, rolling his eyes when I insisted on distinct accounts for Brewed Awakening. "It's just a coffee shop," he'd scoff, his voice dripping with condescension. But this shop, born from my sleepless nights and relentless hustle, was my empire, its profits mine alone. I'd pour every ounce of myself into it, and I'd be damned if he took that too. The house was another battle I'd won before it began. Ethan had pushed to add his name to the deed of my grandmother's craftsman, its ivy-covered porch and creaky floors a piece of my soul. "It's practical," he'd argued, his smile too smooth. My gut screamed no, and I held firm, citing sentimental reasons. Now, as I sit in the shop's back office, surrounded by ledgers and the faint clink of rain on the skylight, I'm grateful for that instinct. The house, like Brewed Awakening, is untouchable, a sanctuary Ethan can't claim. I didn't just protect my assets, I documented his betrayal. Every suspicious charge on our credit card, $300 for a boutique hotel in Bellevue, $75 for a necklace I never received, $50 for flowers that never graced our home, went into a folder on my laptop, time-stamped and cross-referenced. I tracked his Venmo payments to Lily Design, her alias barely concealing her identity. 2 months ago, I met Emma, my lawyer, in a discreet corner of a downtown cafe. Her sharp eyes scanned my evidence, her nod confirming what I knew. I was ready. "He'll regret underestimating you," she said, her voice steady as she outlined our strategy. I left that meeting lighter, not because the pain was gone, but because I had a plan. Tonight, as I lock up Brewed Awakening, the neon sign flickering off, Ethan's text feels less like a wound and more like a spark. He thinks he's won, picturing me sobbing over his betrayal, his 22-year-old girlfriend a trophy of his midlife crisis. But I see Lily's face at that holiday party, her eager laugh, her hand on his arm, and I feel a pang, not of jealousy, but of pity. She's too young to see the trap she's walked into. Thin little echoes in my head, but it's fuel now, not poison. I clutch my phone, my fingers steady as I forward his message to Emma. "He's made his move," I say, my voice low, the Seattle night wrapping around me like armor. Let him gloat. I've been preparing for this war, and I'm armed with more than he'll ever know. The Seattle rain hasn't let up, a relentless curtain of silver streaking across the windows of Brewed Awakening as I sit in the back office, the glow of my laptop casting shadows on the exposed brick walls. The air smells of damp earth and the faint vanilla of cooling pastries, but my focus is razor sharp, locked on Ethan's latest text. "You're not getting any younger, Rose. Good luck with your little coffee shop, it'll keep you busy in your old age." The words drip with condescension, each syllable a jab at my pride, my 35 years, my life's work. My chest tightens, not with hurt but with a simmering fury, a fire stoked by his arrogance. He thinks he's untouchable, basking in his Los Angeles fantasy with Lily, his 22-year-old graphic designer, while I'm left to crumble. He's wrong. My fingers hover over my phone, steady as the espresso machines hum, and I forward the message to Emma, my lawyer. "Another one for the file," I type, my lips curling into a grim smile. Let him dig his grave deeper. Ethan's texts keep coming, each more brazen than the last. "Lily gets me in ways you never could," he writes, as if our decade together was a footnote. "I've planned this for months." My family agrees we grew apart. The audacity of his LOL from yesterday still burns, but it's the credit card charges that spark my next move. I pull up our joint card statement: $1,200 for first-class LA flights, $800 for a suite at the Sunset Marquis. His parting gift, he called it, another taunt. I dial the credit card company, my voice calm as I speak to a representative named Carla. "I need to report fraudulent charges," I say, forwarding Ethan's text admitting he used the card for his getaway with Lily. Carla's tone sharpens with a hint of satisfaction as she cancels the charges and removes Ethan as an authorized user. "Those tickets and hotel reservations are voided," she confirms. I imagine Ethan and Lily at the airport tomorrow, their smug plans unraveling at the check-in counter, and a quiet thrill runs through me. They'll be stranded, likely in some dingy motel off the freeway, their Hollywood dreams doused in reality. I lean back in my chair, the creak of leather grounding me. The office is my sanctuary, cluttered with coffee bean samples and framed photos of Brewed Awakening's grand opening 7 years ago, when Ethan called it my cute hobby. That memory stings, but it also fuels me. He never saw the late nights I spent perfecting our signature lavender latte, the mornings negotiating with suppliers, the weekends building a brand that now draws lines out the door. He mocked my meticulous bookkeeping, my insistence on separating business and personal finances, but that caution is my armor now. The joint account he drained was a decoy, holding just $3,000 to keep him complacent. My real savings, $80,000 from Brewed Awakening's profits, are safe in my Puget Sound bank account. The house, my grandmother's craftsman with its sagging porch and cedar scent, is mine alone, untouchable despite Ethan's years of wheedling to add his name to the deed. My foresight feels like a shield, forged in the quiet moments when I sensed his betrayal brewing. Another text buzzes in. "Don't bother begging, Rose. Lily and I are gone tomorrow." I laugh, a sharp sound that echoes in the empty shop. Begging? He's the one who'll beg when he realizes his mistake. I forward this message to Emma, adding to the growing dossier screenshots of his gloating, receipts for his secret hotel stays, Venmo payments to Lily Design for gifts I never saw. Emma's reply is swift. "These are gold. He's handed us a case for financial misconduct." My heart races, not with fear but with a fierce clarity. Ethan thinks he's scripted my defeat, picturing me as a scorned wife, alone in our Capitol Hill home, drowning in tears. Instead, I'm plotting, each move precise as a chess master's. I pour a glass of Pinot Noir from a bottle I've saved for a moment worth celebrating. This qualifies, not because I'm reveling in his downfall, but because I'm reclaiming my power. The rain outside slows to a drizzle, the city's neon lights smudging the wet glass. I think of Lily, her wide-eyed ambition at Horizon Media's holiday party, her hand grazing Ethan's arm. She's young, dazzled by his promises of a glamorous life, unaware she's a pawn in his midlife crisis. I feel a pang of pity. She'll learn soon enough when their canceled flights and hotel leave them scrambling. Ethan's ego, bloated by her adoration, blinded him to my strength. He never noticed me tracking his lies, cataloging his betrayals, consulting Emma in that dimly lit cafe 2 months ago. "He'll make a move soon," I told her, my voice steady despite the ache in my chest. She'd nodded, her eyes gleaming with strategy. "When he does, we'll be ready." As I shut down my laptop, the shop's quiet wraps around me like a cocoon. Seattle's skyline glimmers through the window, a reminder of the life I've built, brick by brick, without Ethan's help. His texts, his little coffee shop jabs, are kindling for my resolve. I'm not the broken woman he expects. I'm Rose, the woman who turned a single coffee cart into a chain, who protected her assets with the precision of a surgeon. Tomorrow, Ethan and Lily will face the fallout of their voided plans, their motel room a far cry from the Sunset Marquis. I'll be here in my shop, serving customers, my jaw no longer clenched but lifted in quiet triumph. Ethan's betrayal was meant to end me, but it's only the beginning of my counterattack. I sip my wine, the taste sharp and rich, and feel the weight of my evidence, my preparation, my power. Let him gloat in his cheap motel. I'm playing a longer game, and I'm winning. King County Courthouse looms over downtown Seattle, its gray stone facade as unyielding as the rain-soaked morning. Inside, the air is stale, heavy with the scent of polished wood and old paper, but I feel alive, my pulse steady as I sit beside Emma, my lawyer, in a navy blazer that feels like armor. The fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows, but they can't dim the fire in my chest. Ethan sits across the room, his designer jeans too tight, his blazer a garish attempt at youth, his smirk faltering under the weight of the moment. He thought he'd outsmarted me, drained our joint account, and run off with Lily, his 22-year-old graphic designer, to a glittering LA fantasy. Today, he'll learn how wrong he was. I clutch the folder of evidence in my lap, texts, receipts, bank statements, each page a testament to my foresight, my refusal to be broken by his betrayal. Emma, sharp as a blade in her tailored suit, rises as the emergency hearing begins. The judge, a woman with steel gray hair and eyes that miss nothing, nods for her to proceed. "Your Honor," Emma begins, her voice clear, "my client, Rose, has endured financial misconduct by her husband, Ethan." She slides a stack of papers across the bench, each one meticulously labeled. Exhibit A, text messages from Mr. Carter admitting he deliberately emptied their joint account. She projects Ethan's words onto a screen. "Joint accounts empty, us." Courtroom feels smaller, the air tighter, as his casual cruelty fills the space. I catch his glance, his eyes darting away, and I feel a surge of grim satisfaction. He didn't expect me to weaponize his own words. Emma continues, her tone measured but relentless. Exhibit B, credit card statements showing unauthorized charges, $1,200 for flights to Los Angeles, $800 for a hotel suite, used by Mr. Carter to fund a trip with his girlfriend, Lily. The judge's eyebrow arches as Emma presents my screenshots, Ethan's gloating texts about his parting gift. I remember the night I forwarded those to Emma, the rain tapping Brewed Awakening's windows, my heart pounding not with fear but with purpose. Exhibit C, Emma says, documents proving Brewed Awakening, my client's coffee shop chain, was established before the marriage and maintained with separate finances. She hands over my business incorporation papers, tax returns, and bank records, each one a brick in the fortress I built around my empire. Ethan's lawyer, a frazzled man in a rumpled suit, shifts uncomfortably, sensing the tide turning. Ethan's confidence, so smug in his texts mocking my age and my little coffee shop, begins to crack. His jaw tightens as Emma details my careful separation of assets, how I funneled Brewed Awakening's profits into a private account, how I kept my grandmother's Capitol Hill Craftsman in my name alone. His lawyer tries to counter, stammering, "The business grew during the marriage. My client deserves a share." Emma cuts in, her voice like ice. "Mr. Carter belittled Brewed Awakening as a hobby. Here are his texts to prove it." She displays his message. "Good luck with your little coffee shop." A murmur ripples through the courtroom, and I see Ethan's face redden, his hands clenching the table. He thought he could claim half of what I built, never understanding the years I spent grinding, perfecting recipes, building a brand while he scoffed. The judge leans forward, her gaze piercing Ethan. "Mr. Carter, you admitted to draining a joint account and using shared credit for personal travel. Do you deny this?" Ethan mumbles, "I just wanted a clean break." The judge's voice sharpens. "By committing financial fraud?" She reviews my evidence, her fingers tapping the receipts. "The court finds sufficient evidence of misconduct. All shared assets are frozen pending final dissolution. Mr. Carter, you're ordered to repay the withdrawn funds within 24 hours. Ethan's protest, "That money's gone," is cut off by her glare. "Find a way to replace it." "And your claim to Brewed Awakening is dismissed. It's clearly separate property." I exhale, the weight of months, years of Ethan's betrayal lifting. His confidence, once a swagger, is gone, replaced by a panicked slump. Lily, waiting outside, will hear of his failure, their motel-bound LA dream a fading mirage. As we leave the courtroom, my heels click on the marble floor, each step a declaration of victory. I think of Brewed Awakening, its warm lights and loyal customers waiting for me. Ethan underestimated me, but my meticulous planning, every receipt saved, every text archived, has rewritten his ending. I'm not just surviving his betrayal, I'm thriving, and this is only the beginning. The Seattle skyline glitters through the rain-streaked windows of Brewed Awakening's flagship store, its neon glow reflecting off the polished oak counter where I stand, now 37, surveying the bustling evening crowd. 2 years have passed since Ethan's cruel text, his smug LOL and declaration of leaving me for Lily, his 22-year-old graphic designer, while draining our joint account. That moment, meant to break me, became the spark that ignited my rise. As I pour a lavender latte, the scent of roasted beans and sweet syrup grounding me, I feel a quiet pride. Brewed Awakening isn't just a coffee shop anymore, it's an empire with 5 locations across Seattle, each one a testament to my grit. Local food blogs sing our praises, calling my signature drinks a love letter to the city. Customers line up for our seasonal specials, their chatter filling the air with warmth. Ethan mocked this place as my little coffee shop, but it's my legacy built without him. Ethan's world, meanwhile, has crumbled. Horizon Media fired him after an HR investigation into his affair with Lily, a subordinate, deeming it a breach of ethics. His dreams of a corner office vanished, replaced by a formal reprimand and a pink slip. Mutual friends whisper that he's moved back to Margaret's house, his mother's modest Ballard bungalow, sleeping in his childhood bedroom at 44. His finances, gutted by his own recklessness, are in shambles, maxed out credit cards, no savings, and the court-ordered repayment of the $3,000 he stole from our joint account. Lily, his shining escape, left him months ago. I hear she grew disillusioned when their LA fantasy fizzled in that cheap motel, their canceled flights and hotel a harsh wake-up call. She saw through his empty promises of wealth, glamour, a life he couldn't deliver. Now she's dating a barista her own age, building something real, while Ethan's left grasping at the ghost of his midlife crisis. Margaret's call comes one rainy afternoon as I'm unpacking a shipment of Ethiopian beans. Her voice, once sharp with blame, is heavy with regret. "Rose, I'm so sorry," she says, her words trembling. "We believed Ethan's lies, how you were cold, controlling. But we were wrong." I listen, arranging mugs on a shelf, my heart a mix of vindication and distance. Sarah, Ethan's sister, visits Brewed Awakening the next week, her eyes avoiding mine as she fingers a ceramic cup. "He played us all," she admits. "Those texts he sent you, the way he bragged about taking your money. I'm ashamed we defended him." I nod, my voice polite but firm. "I appreciate that, Sarah, but my lawyer advises minimal contact with your family." Their apologies, though sincere, come too late. I've built my own family, my staff, my customers, the community that rallies around my shops. Ethan's betrayal didn't just cost him me, it cost him his family's trust. Last month, I stood on a stage at a small business conference in Bellevue, the spotlight warm, the crowd of entrepreneurs leaning forward as I shared my story, not of heartbreak, but of resilience. "Trust your instincts," I told them, my voice steady. "Protect your assets, not out of paranoia, but out of strength." I spoke of Brewed Awakening, how I kept its profits separate, how I documented Ethan's deceit, texts, receipts, Venmo payments long before he made his move. The audience nodded, some jotting notes, others whispering about my empire. A young woman, barely 25, asked how to balance love and business. "Love doesn't mean handing over your power," I said, thinking of Ethan's sneering texts. "Keep what's yours always." The applause was a roar, and I felt a swell of purpose. I wasn't just Rose, the betrayed wife. I was Rose, the woman who turned pain into power. In my office, a framed screenshot of Ethan's cruel text, "Joint accounts empty, lol," hangs beside a Brewed Awakening award for Best Local Business. The contrast is stark. His words meant to diminish me, now a relic of his failure. The award a gleaming testament to my triumph. I catch my reflection in the office window, my face sharper, wiser, not the broken woman Ethan expected. The shop hums around me, baristas calling orders, the espresso machine hissing like a heartbeat. I think of the nights I spent here, alone, building this place while Ethan scoffed. Those nights forged me, taught me to trust my gut, to plan for the worst while hoping for the best. Ethan still tries to rewrite the narrative. Through the grapevine, I hear he's on dating apps, listing himself as young at heart, his profile photo airbrushed to hide the lines of his choices. He's taken a low-paying job at a startup, a far cry from Horizon Media's glossy offices. His latest petition to revisit our divorce settlement was dismissed, the judge citing his own texts as evidence of misconduct. He's desperate, Emma tells me, her voice tinged with amusement. He thought he'd claim half your business, but your records were airtight. I smile, sipping a Cordideau, the bittersweet taste mirroring my journey. Ethan's downfall isn't my revenge, my success is. Yesterday, Margaret showed up at Brewed Awakening's 5th location opening, uninvited, her designer coat, bought from my shop, catching the light. She waited until the crowd thinned, her eyes soft with something like awe. I saw Ethan, she said. He talks about his glory days, the life he could have had. He doesn't see he threw it away. I nodded, arranging a tray of pastries, my heart unmoved. Ethan's story is a footnote now, while mine fills pages, 5 shops, a loyal team, a city that loves my coffee. As I handed out samples at the opening, a young barista, also named Lily, asked about my journey. I laughed, thinking of the irony. Build something true, I told her, and never let anyone dim your light. My phone buzzes with new orders, the online store I launched last year thriving. Ethan's text, framed on my wall, isn't a wound, it's a trophy, proof I outsmarted his cruelty. I'm not just surviving, I'm soaring, my empire a beacon for every woman who's been underestimated. Seattle's rain falls softer now, a gentle backdrop to my victory. 3 lessons to carry forward. My journey through Ethan's betrayal taught me lessons I share with you, hoping they light your path as they did mine. First, trust your instincts, they're your truest guide. When I found that receipt from the pink door, my gut screamed of Ethan's deceit. I could have confronted him, let anger lead, but I listened to that quiet voice, building my defenses, secret accounts, documented evidence. That intuition, though painful, saved my future. Your instincts are a compass. Follow them even when the truth stings. Second, preparation is your power. Every text I saved, every receipt I filed, every dollar I shielded turned Ethan's betrayal into his downfall. Keeping Brewed Awakening's finances separate and my house in my name wasn't paranoia, it was strength. Preparation lets you control your story no matter what's thrown at you. Build your shield before the storm hits and you'll stand unshaken. Finally, your success is your triumph. Ethan thought his cruelty would break me, but I poured that pain into Brewed Awakening, 5 locations, a thriving community, a voice at conferences inspiring others. My empire isn't revenge. It's proof that rising above betrayal is the sweetest victory. Your worth isn't defined by someone else's failure, but by the heights you reach when you refuse to dim your light. Let your success tell your story. Thank you for listening. Where are you watching from today? Drop your location in the comments. If you liked this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a similar experience? We'd love to hear it.